Let me first of all wish all of you a very happy and a prosperous Hindu New Year Day, because we have just completed Ugadi about 2 days back, and this is the opportune moment that I must wish each one of you and your families a very, very happy and prosperous New Year. Today, honestly speaking, I am one of the rather, it is one of the happiest day in my life. And probably you might ask, what is it? What for? What is so great about today? Because I'm listening to the students of my beloved disciple, Mr. Vivekanand Raipeddi. I'm sorry, I
Yes, sir.
seem to correct Dr. Vivekanand Raipeddi. Because when we used to meet, he was not doctor then. Subsequently, he became doctor. So congratulations to you, Anand. And nothing else can satisfy my ears other than the true, genuine feelings about you, the quantum of hardship, the quantum of dedication that you have been able to render to your students, no matter which batch, no matter what age, or no matter what position or the designation he or she has held. That's a great value added contribution that you are making to all of them. Great.
Thank you.
And hats off to you. And I'm giving you a personal clap of
Thank,
appreciation on that.
thank you, sir.
Uh, Mohinder, having introduced me to the entire group, it becomes my privileged duty to introduce each one of you to my better half who is sitting next to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And more
Namaste.
so,
Namaste.
she's
Namaste.
Sanjeevani Tope. She is retired principal of a junior college for girls from, Hyderabad. And she's the one who conducts this Sanjeevani Career Academy for herself. Of course, I do support her, I do encourage her, and we probably run together. We have two, three, like Anand has very novel products. We also have very novel products. We undertake not only the career counseling, but we also
Sorry.
take the teachers training program and teaching audits of the schools. These are two, three different types of products, so as to say. Now, that is coming about me and my wife. Coming to the topic, the wish list and want list given to me by Dr. Vivekanand was very exhaustive. And I really wish that, I could accomplish all that. But considering the constraint of time, not the energy, I thought that it is better that I confine in such a way that I will try to encompass everything that is expected out of me. So let me start with my journey in terms of communication, so to say. I don't know whether I am fluent or not, but that is what people say, that I am fluent. People say that you keep us glued to the seats till you complete. And that means that, probably I am also a fluent communicator, perhaps. I am yet to accept, because no sooner you accept, you stop growing further. Let us go step by step. You will find a lot of similarity between the contents which Anand has drafted and the experiences which I am going to share. And there would be a classical connect between these two. I'm a Maharashtrian. My parents were teachers. So the Marathi language was a dominant one at home and the school in which we have studied, the teachers were also again Maharashtrian. The classmates were Maharashtrians. So the Marathi culture on an otherwise English medium school was very, very predominant. Now, what has happened as a result of which English as a subject was good, English grammar perfect. But when it came to the question of spoken English, we were big zeros. When it came to the question of writing essays, we were again extremely good. We have, hello,
Yeah.
yeah. Is there any disturbance from my end?
No, no, no. We are
Okay.
getting.
And essay writings, we have won the prizes for the schools, but when it came to the elocution, we proved ourselves to be not up to the mark at all. Well, thereafter, we moved into the college, and there it was a big shock of my life to myself. Every other fellow coming from other different schools have been able to converse, and I was afraid to introduce myself. How do I introduce myself? Even that was a big challenge. We started learning along with, mingling with different cross cultural sort of an environment. And very slowly, we picked up. I'm in a habit of saying not I, but we, therefore, that word, we keeps coming. See, as a childhood, if you look at the impact of Marathi was too high. But was there any regret? Absolutely no regrets on that. Because the first alphabets or the exposure to alphabets, A, B, C, D, was in the sixth standard. सिक्स्थ स्टैंडर्ड में हमें पहले बड़ा पहला लिपि दूसरा लिपि थर्ड लिपि ऑफ अल्फाबेट्स वाज taught. Now from that stage we have come. Again, I am saying we, and I am proud that I am saying we because there are quite a few of people and friends like me along with me. Now what happens in when you speak in mother tongue? The madam just now who spoke to us, the doctor from Tamil Nadu, the language that we knew was only Marathi and Hindi, but exposure to English was just not there. So, for first thing, what happens is we start translating our mother tongue into English. Obviously, when this happens, it is very clear that you are not there where you should be as a communicator. People start underestimating you because the style in which you speak your mother tongue, you start speaking English. And somewhere, Anand, you just touched that we need to get laurels from the Englishmen. I must tell you that there have been uh, many occasions where the Americans and the Brits have complimented for not only for my communication, but the correct English which I speak. That is the journey of studying from sixth standard to getting a compliment. In the all through for last say about 50 years of my career into the pharma marketing. Now coming to another important aspect is vocabulary. What is vocabulary? The number of words you know with their meanings and which you can interpolate when you communicate so that other people will understand. If your vocabulary is poor, you just can't communicate. This is what I was trying to tell you. Beating around the bush happens. But if you have the correct word with you, which is communicating a right meaning, the job becomes very easy and very quick. You become suddenly a person who gets accepted and people are very receptive. This is what a beautiful thing happens when you become a communicator. I have seen many friends of mine, while they communicate, they use a lot of jargons, which they themselves have not understood, which others also don't understand. After his communication is over, you go and ask him, Are, uh, at least I suddenly remember one person by name Keshav. Keshav, what did that jargon, something which you use, that one word, to tell you, Anand, honestly, मेरे को खुद को ही मालूम नहीं है. But what happens in the process of trying to impress people, you lose your communication abilities. You are getting completely disconnected with the audience. And for vocabulary also, do you know something? You don't have to go through the entire Oxford dictionary. Some small percentage of words, if you have the knowledge, you can be the best communicator in the world. You don't have to go through the whole, that big book of Oxford's 24th, or whatever edition it is now. You don't have to. So your vocabulary, but necessarily has to be pretty good in order to be a good communicator. And yeah, as I've told you, translation is something,
Yes.
yeah, something which we must try to avoid. Now, how to gain a decent vocabulary? This is what at least I have quite a few memories. Reading a good newspaper is one of the easiest options which is available for us. Now, which newspaper, sir? Is it Times of India? Please, I'm sorry, I have nothing against anybody, nor I love against for somebody. Times of India is not a newspaper for raising our vocabulary. You look at Hindu, you look at Indian Express in particular, and the kind of communication that they give you. You read one particular news on a particular instance which is happening from all these three newspapers. You will find that your understanding and comprehension of the news which is given to you by Indian Express would be the most dominant one on your forehead. Whereas Hindu style of communication is, not very certain. It is reliably learned that possibly such a such thing happened. Whereas if it is Indian Express, he will be clear cut, hard hitting, and making it a very meaningful communication. Now, another method of increasing, and it goes without saying that when you are reading the newspaper, in case if one or two words they pose you a little bit of challenge, keep the dictionary handy, look at that immediately, and I can tell you, you would never ever forget that word in your lifetime. If you follow this little small practice. Importantly, these days, we must listen to good news readers. Now, which good news reader? I wouldn't comment on that, because whatever that they read is something which is phrased already by somebody else. But then listening to a good news reader is also of paramount importance. In that, I would strongly recommend BBC as well, because BBC's English is very simple, very easy to understand, free from jargons, and a perfect way of presenting a good case of journalism. Now, there is a bit of jumbling of thoughts, because when we translate our mother tongue into English, I have told you what happens. But think of when you think in English and speak in English, what difference it makes. It makes a hell of a lot of difference. Right now, what I'm not talking in my mother tongue and translating it into English. My thinking is in English and communication is in English. And that gives me an immense satisfaction. And when that happens, when you put yourselves into those socks and shoes, you become very comfortable. And then why there cannot be an acclaim, an applaud for you when you do that? Because you become an Englishman there. It's not that their birthright only to think in English and talk in English. It's a question of how we orient ourselves at the end of the day. How many, most of you have, I think, like me, at least you are parents, or some of you may be having grandparents also. Like Madam who spoke to us, the other lady also who spoke to us. At this age, if you have that urge to excel, urge to communicate, to become fluent, means what? You have been able to identify that this is something, a lacuna in me, and I must overcome that. While you are trying to overcome that, with what confidence you have come to this particular course. Hmm. Yeah, you want to improve your expressions. The best mechanism, ma'am, or all of you, sit with your son or daughter, sit with your grandchildren, and tell them stories. Storytelling is a very, very powerful technique. Extremely powerful technique. Because what is that it does not include? I will come to an end when you will see that in a story, if all those aspects, whether they are included or not, and you will wonder that why, as soon as the night comes, your grandchild or your son or the daughter, even if they are grown up, Amma, please tell me a story, Baba, आज कौन सी कहानी सुनाने वाले हो? The urge, because your involvement with yourself, with your family, with your kids is so strong and immense that it's an infatuation you will develop, a good infatuation. Now, for example, now please check the word infatuation if you do not get connected with this word right now. Please, I'm sorry, I'm not underestimating anybody, but then amongst the words that I have used so far, this sounds like a jargon, but it isn't. And while you communicate, my request to you and suggestion to you, please do not over bother about grammar. Please do not over bother. I'm not saying that you speak, doesn't matter, you go and speak whatever you feel like. No, I'm not saying that. But one or two mistakes here and there, they may happen. But do not bother yourself. Because what happens is there is a lateral thinking which is going on. And what is that lateral? You spoke something, ayo, suddenly I did not put the and before AEIOU, and it's a big bloody blunder I have committed. Now, once you acknowledge your mistake there that you have committed, the latter part of your communication is finished. Please don't worry. It's okay. Even Shakespeare himself has committed a couple of mistakes while he was supposed to be one of the best Englishmen. Now I'm coming to almost to an end of my communication. What is most important, the best of the best speakers also I've seen, they crumble, they fall like pack of cards on the stage only because their quality of content which they are supposed to deliver has been of a very poor order. In fact, they go with overconfidence on the stage and start talking, and audience can realize that this guy is not prepared, and they're finished there itself. Nobody has to stand up from the audience and say that what you're talking is a crap, but he himself, because the content was missing. Remember one thing, unless there is a foundation, there cannot be a building. Content is the foundation of your communication. Do not overestimate yourself. However small, I'm sorry to say, a stupid meeting it may be, you need to sit for a while and prepare. It could be some, what is that, retirement program or first birthday. Suddenly you are asked to speak something, or you are told, Amma or Baba, you have to कुछ थोड़ा अच्छा बात करना है हाँ, यहाँ पे. Mentally you should be ready with your preparation. What is the biggest fear for a man? Can anybody tell me? But because, we are not having an interactive session, huh? The biggest fear of a man, more than the death, is the stage fear. and and today you have overcome the death, because after death there is no fear. The one which you thought you have, and only to overcome that, you have approached Dr. Anand, and he has helped you out in such a grand way. अभी डर किस बात की है? ना मौत की है, ना बात करने की है. Who is a better person than you? Who can qualify to be हक से मैं ज्यादा जीऊंगा और अच्छा जीऊंगा, ये बोलने के लिए. Now coming to a very simple communication, uh, that gives you fearlessness and confidence. Now, if you look at Anand's way of communication, he is loaded with tons of enthusiasm. Oh, kitna, you can't weigh him. The enthu that he has been having for all those years, of course, everybody will have, I'll come back to that when I come to our life. We have had a very wonderful life. Yes, I'll come to that. But secondly, in a big noisy situation, when you have to communicate, you can't avoid. You have been called as a speaker, and there is a fish market around. How many people you will say, "Arey, thoda khamosh baitho, please, thoda hallu baat karo." You have no choice. You got to speak there. And how will you speak? Your voice, your amplitude has to be above the noise so that you are heard. Not only the purpose is not that you are heard, you are not only heard, but you are listened. Their listening active process is important. आप कैसे बोलोगे? No, I can't really. It's a fish market like situation, यार. कोई सुनने के लिए ही तैयार नहीं है. Then you are not required there. चले जाओ वहां से. You become a top flop there. I'm sorry. I become very sarcastic and use some different kind of language once in a way. Pitch, amplitude of your voice, intonations, and emotions. See, right now what is happening with me, Anand, is adrenaline is pouring in, pounding in. And as a result of which, without my knowledge, without my control, certain emotions are getting displayed and expressed. And I'm very nervous today because I have a very bad voice. I have some problem with my vocal cords. For last 3 months, I have been undergoing treatment for that. I have been preparing for today's presentation medically for last 3 days.
Great, great, sir.
Trust me, trust me. My wife is there to vouch me.
Yeah.
Now, in the journey of struggle, let me tell you with a word of caution. We are all in a rat race, whether we like it or not. No, I'm doing meditation, I'm doing pranayam, I'm eating sprouts, I'm focusing on diet, this, that, and all. But what happens here, what goes inside, that stress translates into something else. And both of us, me and my wife, we have had extremely successful career. We haven't retired as yet. Honestly, we haven't retired. Somebody says that, now, while I have to introduce you, that she is former principal, I am forced to. Otherwise, you wouldn't recognize her. She has had 35 years of total teaching experience. But then, what is the price that we have paid for it? We both filled our coronary arteries. We both had our own tax, which we have paid to the society, and that is, we both had to undergo bypass surgeries. And still, this is the enthu that we have. We say, we claim that we haven't retired. You are at the right place. You have had a fabulous, I can't call him tutor. He is much above a tutor. Anand is a good guru for you. And please keep in touch with him. Even if you are passing out parade में से आप निकल भी रहे हो from this valedictory function, please do not forget that he has been a big contributor to you and your overall meaningful life. Thank you so much.